Let me see the sides. Let me see the sides. Oh yeah, shit is looking clean. What up, everyone?
What's up, y'all?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Happy Monday.
We got some guests, some new guests on Seller Hour right here as well. Good to see everyone.
Little Money Monday Seller Hour collab here.
Collab, right?
Love
the first ever, right? For
Yeah,
Cyber
first ever.
Monday, guys. And that's the big thing is there's all these deals going on for Cyber Monday, so make sure you guys are cleaning up. And it's gonna be a good thing. We have sales going on right now on SellerAmp, which ends tomorrow. You can upgrade to our annual plans to get 12 months for the price of 9, as well as Boxem 2 going on right now as well. So yeah, whatever questions you guys got, let us know who's tapping in the chat too. There's good Cyber Monday energy here.
Lash, ZK, good to see you guys.
Quick clap. What up?
Miles upgrade in the background a little bit. I like it.
There's a plant back there. There's a plant.
I'm shocked by that.
I had it a while ago though. I had it a while ago. It was just in another part of the room, but yeah, I brought it up.
It's such a Miles thing to have a plant and just don't put it in the background.
No, it looked good in the other place too as well. Okay, here we go. What's up, Amar? What's up, Hike? Right here. Yeah. So this is a fairly controversial take, for example, but you earn the Kohl's cash later. So for example, if you buy, like, there's actually a lot of good online arbitrage products on there right now. So if you buy product today, you earn Kohl's cash tomorrow. So you can either average out the discount on both ends or let the Kohl's cash be free money, for example. That actually makes it a lot harder to find profitable products depending on how you do the math. Right there, I'm personally a fan of the average it out way, which makes it easier to buy stuff, for example. But it is very confusing math, but it is a banger coupon code. So if you're finding stuff profitable without Kohl's cash, you're getting a ton of free money on the back end too.
What does it equate to? Like 17.5%?
And then there's rewards as well. There's gift cards too. There's a bunch of fancy stuff here. TGP hit the 5K right there. TGP and I were talking about that yesterday. Yeah,
he was asking how much he needed to spend the other day. Yep.
Oh, for the Hunter ball right there. Yeah.
Nice.
Hello guys. I just signed into Boxem. It's not letting me add my VA. So Nathan, you can do that in the sub user section. There's also a really good section on the Boxem website, the Boxem Help Center. That could help as well too. Ooh, okay, here's a good one. How do I find good storefront stock and to find the first product to start stocking? So I would say watch some live sourcing from Garrett, watch some live sourcing from Warner, the SellerAmp channel, my channel, for example, and have that be your starting point, right? So we have tens, maybe hundreds of hours of live sourcing at this point across our pages. I posted a new one on the SellerAmp channel today, for example, and that'll show you guys the good starting points on good leads that are found in those. That's a good place to start right there.
Well, as like a general rule of thumb, right? The better the product, the better stores that's likely going to lead to, right? And so and I talk a lot about pivot points in my content, right? Like when you're sourcing and then you leveraging pivot points to maybe find additional stuff. So maybe you use a keyword product finder search as an entry point to look into a brand or a site or whatever the case may be. And then you find that first profitable product. Well, that leads you to a couple of different pivot points. You can look deeper into the variations. You can look deeper into the sellers on that product. And then, of course, you can look deeper into the search that led you to that product. And so really, especially in clothing and apparel, every time you find a product, you have a couple different pivot points to adapt and to utilize when you're sourcing. Variations, more variations, deeper into that brand, sellers on that particular product, and then the way in which you found that product to begin with, right? So at least 3 or 4 different pivot points every single time you find a product.
And the beauty of storefront stalking too is like once you find a couple of storefronts that make good candidates to stalk, you end up finding so many more. It's one of those methods that snowballs, and sooner or later you'll have like unlimited leads with which to poke through and find a lot of good stuff.
Yep. And so the key with that is, right, as you're watching, a SellerAmp video, for example, like the one I posted today, go to those products, visualize the numbers, go to the websites they're on, for example, right? Break it down on your own, right? Make sure you're using all the coupon codes, the holiday sales, Cyber Monday deals, big cash back for example, right there too. And then go through and storefront stock, because those sellers that are on those listings probably have a pretty similar business model, right? Most products, they're either wholesale or online arbitrage or retail arbitrage. Very few products are found via both. Some of the best products are found via both, but those are going to be great places to get started with rock and roll in a storefront stock.
And also make sure you save your links, right? Every storefront has a perpetual link that is always going to lead you back to that same storefront, and start to organize them in a Google sheet, right? Any sellers that you have identified as like Nike sellers, Adidas sellers, Puma sellers, maybe back to school sellers, right? Maybe RA sellers. There's going to be any sellers within any niche you operate in, and it's going to, again, just make finding products that much easier, because anytime you sit down to source, you should have some sort of a strategy in mind in terms of what that game plan is, whether it's using Keep a Product Finder or reverse sourcing, or starting with any of our YouTube videos and identifying a brand or variations from there, right? There's infinite amounts of ways you can source, but the way you really start to compound your time and like create more arms for yourself as opposed to hiring more people is just simply being more efficient and organized as a seller.
Low key facts right there too. Yeah. Happy Cyber Monday, y'all. Hey, y'all. So I found about 100 lip glosses and dog snacks that were selling nicely when I first bought them. Now, last week or last 2 weeks, nothing. I noticed this number of sellers jumped drastically. Any tips? Yeah. So the price probably went down because that lead was, probably pretty easy to find. For example, those lists or that listing probably doesn't have variations, for example. So it's pretty easy to understand for newer sellers right there. So consider how easy that product is to find, right? And how likely it is that more competition would get on that listing, whether it's like more, for example, some sales ended yesterday, right? Some sales end tonight, some sales end tomorrow, some sales end December 7th, for example, right? If that deal is still accessible, more competition will probably hop on the market, right? If that deal is now inaccessible, right? The offer count's probably going to go down, in which case the price is probably going to go up, for example, if that makes sense.
I take a couple of days off with the fam. I'm getting dark still now.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you spend family time and
Well, and the beauty of some of these holiday deals too, right? Like some of these Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday sales is if you get them in hand quickly, you can just FBM them, and a lot of times get them sold before other people's inventory gets to FBA, and then at which point the price might go down a little bit. So again, this is the best time of year to FBM by far, and I think there are a lot of FBM opportunities. Miles, I know you talk about that a lot.
You gotta love FBM right there, man. Yeah, that's the key. Is as you guys are filling these FBM orders, hop on Twitter, right? Tag the gang, tag some of your seller friends, for example, and we'll retweet it. That'll amplify your page and it'll introduce cool new Amazon sellers to your life, which is never a bad thing, right? And you guys should definitely join our Seller Amp Facebook group as well. We have a free Discord going down too. You want to get around other Amazon sellers. You might find cool Amazon sellers in the chat, for example, here too.
It's been beautiful to see.
What's up?
It's been beautiful to see everybody tagging us on Twitter, Instagram, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
on those big FBM piles out, big Black Friday sales results. A lot of y'all went like 200-300% above the normal day on Black Friday. So I need to see more of that on the timeline.
And as you're FBMing all the Cyber Monday inventory you're getting in 2 days, you can laugh at all the people that are FBAing because you're going to sell out of your inventory 5 times through before their stuff checks in mid-January.
And I have noticed
people FBA right now. Yeah.
FBM buy box has been getting priority on a lot of listings right now too. Like a lot of listings that I keep an eye on that normally always have an FBA buy box are having FBM buy boxes now because again, Amazon's, I think, prioritizing getting customer orders out as opposed to, processing inbound FBA shipments. So just they give more preference to FBM this time of year.
FBM's not scary. Just do a couple orders and you'll get comfortable with it. Just make sure you're using the FBM calculator on Seller Amp and it'll be good to go.
It's very addicting. It takes more work, but it shouldn't be scary. Yeah, it shouldn't be scary.
Yeah, I make the argument that it takes less work because it actually saves you so much time, right? And you technically put in more effort initially, but you get to put in way less effort long term because you get better a lot quicker. So you get to enjoy more time as a good Amazon seller by utilizing FBM to get there.
You just gain so much leverage too, right? If you compare 2 people, one person who buys 100 units, sends them into FBA, another person that buys the same 100 units and sells them FBA. Well, the person at FBM gains feedback from the market within 3 days, can potentially restock based on that market data in 3 days, and is making more money, whereas opposed to the person who sends that same inventory FBA, they're going to get the same feedback in 4 weeks, right? So trying to compare those, it doesn't stack up.
Yeah, right. Walking Dead is literally Walking Dead pumping the FBM wealth right there. Literally, bro. He said, bro, I got 6 packages going out today. Packaging for FBM is kind of nutty. I just been using Dollar General. Yeah, so what you should do now, Walking Dead, is go on Amazon or go and buy some in bulk or like Uline, for example, or whatever type of packaging you're doing. Find a way to get it in bulk so you can get that cost down.
You can probably get them on Amazon, Polymailer specifically on Amazon for cents on the dollar.
Yeah, like a good Amazon seller to buy polymailers from that we would always buy from is Spartan Industries.
Yes,
they've got polymailers of I think every different size, and they've got some that are they have the suffocation labels on them, so they're everything you need. They're ready to go. You can just throw the product in there and slap a FNSKU on it and send it to FBA.
Miles, this most recent time I moved, I found some of those shipping mailers that I gave to you a couple years back.
Good times. Those are the best, bro.
Toxic also is saying he's got mom coming through in a couple hours.
Oh,
Gotta
yeah.
pick
So
up
what's the strategy on
package
that?
of the
You own it?
FBM stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
so
the
that is a good theory we have around this time of year. If at least one person in your house is not getting mad at you for there being a mess of products laying around, got a room or two claimed, and you're not doing Black Friday correctly.
That is a fact.
Absolute fact. 7 FBM wars today so far. Let's go. It says in sales, I'm up 300%. That's what I'm talking about too. 60 FBM packages. Yeah, Luca, don't forget to toss up a little picture on Twitter and tag all the boys where we'll retweet it. Tag the SellerAmp page too.
That picture kind of vibey though with the ocean or lake or whatever he's got going on.
Yeah. Well, he's looking at the FBM wealth right there. Literally, I can see it. Like, dude, those
you can see it in his eyes.
It's on the shoreline. There's a bunch of FBM packages.
Yeah,
just out of frame. Yeah.
Liz, going back to your question about the IP, that data is so finicky, right? So the single source of truth with the IP issues are always going to be kind of embedded within the offer count of that particular product. Because the fact of the matter is, across a brand, it could be very finicky, right? They could IP on some products without others. And so always, regardless of what SellerAmp says, regardless of whatever tool you're using says, just go based off that particular product's data, right? If the data looks clean, consistent offer count, no significant drop-offs over the past couple of years, you should be good. Also, look for the brand being on the product. Look for other products within that brand, see if there's any question marks. But as a general rule of thumb, if that product looks clean and the brand doesn't show up in any of the history, you should be good to go.
Yeah. Is it dumb to ship liquid beverages with polymailer? They're probably very heavy to where like it would probably it could definitely break the polymailer potential.
Probably not ideal.
Yeah, I would say definitely avoid that. But also, too, my favorite thing with that is like if you're doing strictly online arbitrage, like the retailer shipping you the product, they know better than anyone how to package that stuff. For example, right?
Part.
So,
for the most part.
Well, that close.
Sometimes you'll start buying stuff and like everything that comes in the mail is broken. It's like, how are you guys making money? Yeah, Brian, usually you want to put that in a box if you're like worried about it breaking or breaking up and that kind of thing.
I think it was like a couple years ago buying a bunch of Legos. I think Kohl's sent them all in polymailers.
Oh yeah, they put them in bags. Yeah.
Oh,
They all got ruined. Yeah. I remember I took like piles of them to the local store to return them because it was easier than going online.
Yeah.
And then anyone who's new to the show as well. So typically every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we do SellerAmp Seller Hour from the SellerAmp page and everything. Like that. So we'll be live again tomorrow, Tuesday at 4 p.m. for that. And if you're coming from the SellerAmp channel too, make sure you really, or in general, make sure you integrate yourself into the community. Join the Facebook group, right? Find some other Amazon sellers to work with. Like my Amazon business got so transformed once Warren and I started talking all the time. Once Garrett and I started talking all the time, back before we didn't know who Corey was, but it would have helped too if Corey was around back then too, and everything.
Yeah, and for those of you guys who have come from the SellerAmp list and you haven't met Corey and Garrett before, they're both big time Amazon sellers. Corey does lots of wholesale. Garrett does wholesale and OA. So let us know if you guys have questions in that space because we got some experts on the little Money Monday SellerAmp Seller Hour combo today.
I think Miles, I still own 15% of the Corey Ganim brand just based off.
At least probably more than that, honestly.
Just based on the royalties.
You should go dig up that initial DM that I sent you where I was like, "Hey, you want to have me on?" Yeah, pretty much.
It's weird. I mentioned that. I don't think my check came in for November. Yet.
I owe you that. I'll get that out ASAP.
If I get ungated in grocery, am I ungated in all brands? No, just the category. Certain brands within the category will be automatically unlocked. Certain brands within the category you'll need documentation for on that. Sometimes you'll have to apply for both the brand and the category. For example, that's the key is you can see on the SellerAmp extension if you're signed into your Amazon seller account, if that's going to be the case right there.
And sometimes you've got to apply for the brand, the category, and even sometimes the ASIN itself as well. Like there are brands that I'm ungated in where I can sell most of their ASINs, but I can't sell certain ASINs. So yeah, gating can be at like multiple levels.
Hike. So I don't think any of us really use that for sourcing. What I would say is based on your current category, or based on your current catalog, you can look in either 4 directions. Look deeper into a brand that you already sell on. Look deeper into variations of products in which you already sell on. Look deeper in sellers that sell on products you already sell on. or manual source some of your better sites, right? Those are kind of the 4 different areas, the options you have, on top of obviously keep a product finder that you have anytime you sit down to source. And so pick one of those and just dig in, right? Go through your catalog at least once a week, once every 2 weeks, and just look for adjacencies within that. Other variations, products other sellers have, other products and brands, right? They're always going to be adjacencies, and they're always going to be very profitable.
Yeah, the problem with any of those tools that like claim to automatically find stuff is they're spitting out the same leads to everyone, right? So as more people start to use something, it becomes less and less valuable.
Yeah, and the harder a lead is to find, the more competition there's going to be, right? What online arbitrage products have the most price tanking? The ones that don't have any sort of coupon code or holiday sale required to make them good, for example, right? What online arbitrage products have the least competition, right? The ones that you had to know about the coupon code that only shows on Google, for example, or that you had to ask customer service about, or that the deal, is only on for a couple of days, for example, right? The more hidden stuff is, the less competition there's, which makes a lot of sense. It just takes a little while till you see it in practice.
And the same thing goes for wholesale. And Garrett and I were just talking about this on a call right before this, is that the best wholesale accounts and the most profitable wholesale products come from the suppliers that either they tell you no at first and you've got to follow up a bunch, or you've got to manually source through their price list, one product at a time to find that needle in a haystack. There's just really the higher the barrier to entry, typically the better the more profitable the product's going to be, whether you're doing arbitrage or whether you're doing wholesale.
Yeah. So do y'all recommend BeCool? Yeah. So we actually have an integration with SellerAmp and BeCool basically that took a while to put together, but our engineers have done a great job. So you can source a product and then immediately enter in your min and max prices on BeCool, for example, and get your reprice and rock and roll. And if anyone's unfamiliar with, what using repricing software is like, for example, basically it's just an automated way of changing your pricing to get more buy box share and more sales. Pretty much that.
Sadiq body, what's up? I'll see you Saturday, Sadiq.
What up, Sadiq?
Oh, Sadiq's coming to the function?
What's up, Sadiq?
Yeah.
That's well.
We're pulling through, Garrett. We're pulling through.
I heard.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's well. That's big time well. Cool. All right, let's see. Amazon has lost 2 valuable items I brought Black Friday. Oh, the cool thing is you're going to be protected on that. Yeah.
For wholesale, do you guys ask for discounts from the wholesaler once you set up an account? Some of the wholesale companies have found price without recording good enough. So typically you let like the quantities dictate, right? Dictate that, right? So keep in mind, these salespeople are driven by money. They're driven by sales. They're driven by actual numbers. And so typically the approach we have is if there's, 3 to 5, 10 products that we are interested in, apart from the dollar sign, apart from the cost of goods, we'll say, hey, I'm interested in products XYZ. We're interested in about this sort of price range. You name the quantity and we'll take it, right? Give them a price point that you're interested in, that your target price point. Obviously, it's not egregiously low, but just give them a reasonable target price point. And so you say, is there a quantity that we can meet to dictate and to warrant this sort of price point? And a lot of times, right, because remember, their profit's going to be on a sliding scale then, right? And so that just inherently gives them more motivation to walk down the hall and get an approval for a discount when they have some sort of motivation to do so. They have some sort of jurisdiction, right? On the contrary, as opposed to, hey, I'm looking for 500 units. I need a 20% discount. Make it happen. Way less motivation to get that discount and to get that order through.
Yeah. And Justin, just to further touch on that. So at the end of the day, the more you can buy, the better price you're going to get. So if you can give them a specific quantity that you're willing to buy, like, hey, I'm looking to buy 1,000 units. Could I get XYZ price? Then that's just going to make it much easier for them to tell you yes or no. And if you buy enough, you're going to get better pricing. So yeah, it's really a volume game at the end of the day.
Is there like I feel like a good follow-up, is there like a minimum quantity where you're never going to be like, all right, they're never going to give a discount on 50 or like that kind of thing? Or is there a metric you like to look at?
So, and that's a good question. It really differs. It always differs by supplier. So like for example, I was looking at a website today for a supplier that offered their quantity discounts came at like 5 units. So if you bought 1 unit, it was like $7.50 a unit. If you bought 5 units, it was like $7.30. Right. And up to, I think, 250 units or more, you got the best price. So it really differs by supplier.
It also depends on how much money you put in that person's pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this is someone that you've been ordering for 6 months, 12 months, etc., and you have that relationship, well, gives you way more of a foot to stand on, whether it's the first time you've talked to me that, hey, I need 20% off.
Yeah, walk in there barking orders. That's not a great way to start the relationship.
Never, unless you're coming with a big big checkbook, right?
What
And
up?
then
Here we go. This is a very good question. I always see images of people's stores blowing up in like a month while my store is slowly growing. Am I doing something wrong, or did they just dump a boatload of money into their store? So it definitely could be the money thing. It's typically not as much though, and that is a part of the equation. But like the scale is significantly harder to build than the capital, in my opinion, especially on a small scale initially, right? So like, what do successful Amazon sellers do that unsuccessful ones typically don't, right? In my opinion, it's like they have other sellers they work with that they're in the trenches with, right? They scale the unscalable, right? They're doing RA, they're doing pickup orders, they're doing FBM, for example. They understand that you don't find stuff good, you make it good, right? Coupons, holiday sales, tax exempt. If the FBM numbers are better on SellerAmp, they go and realize that, for example. And everything. So yeah, typically it's more so just that they're playing the game on easy mode a little bit more. We have a couple like podcasts about that specifically. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like what else do you see from people who grow quick?
Well, I'd say, I mean, to his point, it's like slow and steady wins the race. There's no reason to rush to try to scale as big as possible, as quickly as possible. In fact, a lot of people who do that end up getting in hot water because, like Miles said, they haven't built the skills, they haven't built the foundation to support that level of revenue. And a lot of times they end up selling stuff at a loss. So I say if you're growing slow and steadily and you're profitable, then keep doing that, right? The only way to put up bigger numbers is to spend more money. And a lot of people are just running it up on credit cards somewhat irresponsibly. So I'd focus on that slow and steady growth for sure.
And I think Miles, you talked about this, but you don't know their story, right? You don't necessarily know if they got a $100K loan from their parents. You don't know if they're selling a bunch of products unprofitably. You don't know if they have stumbled upon an inheritance back. Like there's so many things, like you never know what's actually going on in that person's store, right? Because it comes down to a two-part equation: money and knowledge. The knowledge part is easy. YouTube, Twitter, right? All of us talk about this stuff every single day, but we can't put dollars in your pocket to go spend. Right. So as unfair as that may be, you need both to really explode this thing. And for some people, they have money already from another venture or whatever, but other people, they don't. Right. And that's just kind of the reality of it.
I think the real key, like tactics aside and all that kind of stuff, is the guy or gal who just sits there and is okay with slamming their head against the keyboard for a week or two and it not making sense. And then it clicks. Like that's the real thing. Like those people who scale fast, they just slam their head on the keyboard until it clicks. Like you just have to. What up, Tony? Tony,
What's up, Tony?
dropping a Tony ball on my channel. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and I'm weak that he specified it too as a.
Also, by the way,
Warren, fill us in here.
Yeah.
Since I obviously have, a $20 tip worth of settings videos right there. FBA manual times delivery still viable since you're using automated shipping time. So like SSA, like shipping settings automation, is probably what you should go with for the majority of the year, especially right now. Because if like it shows up late and you're not using SSA, then like you can get dinged for like late delivery. Outside of the peak of FBM season, I still kind of like using templates because you can control it a lot more. Assuming you're not constantly having like late deliveries and stuff like that, you're going to be able to do like 0 to handling. And sometimes SSA can like either make it like way under promise or way over promise, just kind of randomly too. So I like SSA for the next couple weeks, but I'm probably switch back after that.
By the way, completely unrelated, but everyone throw some congrats to Warner in the chat.
Ooh.
Yep.
Our homie got engaged this past
love.
weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out, yeah.
congrats,
WCA, the SellerAmp channel dropping the W too. That's what's up.
Were you nervous at all?
Honestly, no. It's just kind of locked in. It's just like it just felt natural. You know what I mean?
That's
Yep.
it.
Love
Sounds
it.
good. Yeah, they're showing love here. Cool. Yeah, guys. So if you're new to SellerAmp, Sell Hour, whatever questions y'all got, please let us know in the chat. We would love to help here. And make sure you follow all these gents on social media too. Oh, okay.
Toxic's got bits. I
Is
like
that
it.
the
I like
20? Is that the $20 bill?
It's the 100,
I think
right?
it's 100.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 100.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
famously
it's
call them Benjis, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Immune
okay,
to
there we
nerves.
go.
I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
Doesn't get nervous.
Congratulations, Treacha. Yes,
Happy
sir.
wife, happy life.
That's it. That's it.
That's what
Yeah,
somebody said.
cool. I will Q4 this year. However, all 2025 will be execution for FBA company. Yeah, that's exactly the way you want to think about it. I think that makes a ton of sense right there. FBM's not as viable on most listings in most months of the year. However, during December, it's phenomenal, right? And end of November too. So like run up the FBM wealth if you can see listings make sense FBM wealth this time of year.
And I mean, we talk about this a bunch, but it just exponentially speeds up the feedback loop, right? You learn so much more from the market. You can replace competence with just like market data, right? A lot of times you may think something is good. You may not be 100% confident to spend 5,000. Why not spend 500 or 1,000? Let them and watch them sell over the next couple of days and then spend the rest. Gain the validation that they're going to sell, that the market's going to actually accept you into that product market, and then spend the rest of the money. That's a good way to cover your bases, test out a bunch of stuff, and then double down, triple down, quadruple down when the market actually suggests and proves that it does and is worth doing.
Okay, here's a good question. Do you think mentorships are the only way to be successful in this business, or you think someone can learn everything from YouTube, Twitter, etc.? I think mentorships are definitely not the only way to learn this stuff. I think regardless, what people you have in your life that sell on Amazon determine the results you get, right? And that everyone we know, or we don't technically know them, right? On average, right? The seller that never talked to any other Amazon sellers gets significantly worse, right, results than the person that is really in the community. Luckily, the communities are all free, right? We got the Facebook group link below. We got the Discord linked below, right? The chat here is full of serious sellers, for example. But if none of them know you, know your story, know who you are, it's going to be significantly harder for you to find them, for example. So that's my thoughts on it.
It also depends on how much money you have, right? For the person that has $4,000 to their name, spending $3,000 on a mentorship is probably not the best use of that money. But for someone that's, had some success historically, coming from a job maybe that has, 20, 30, 40K to their name, well, spending $3,000 to save the time, the energy, the headaches of others, it's probably way more worth it, right? So it kind of just pretty much like anything, it's it's not a one size fits all equation.
Yeah, and I'll comment on it real quick too. So my take on it is that it really comes down to two things. When you're paying for mentorship or a course or whatever, you're buying to shortcut the learning curve, and you're buying accountability. And so if you need those two things, and if you want those two things, and you're willing to spend money to get there quicker, then it's totally worth it. But it also depends on how much you're willing to work as well.
Buying a label printer pumped my FBM game. It's a little thing, man. Yeah, a lot of you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of that, you can actually get free labels from UPS for your FBM shipping labels, FBA ones too. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that. As well, not knowledge is power. Facts. Just don't. Okay.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
If you only find a new version for the proc you want to send in, the only new is a different color. What should I do? Do I need to sell? Yeah, you got to make sure it's the same product, unfortunately. Yeah. So it sounds like you won't be able to sell those. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Which one of the card bearer sites does instant gift cards? So most of them are all going to be instant just because of the way it works. They're basically all like marketplaces of people who want to sell the gift card. Should take a couple minutes. I like for gift cards, I tend to buy most of mine from GCX or Top Cashback gift card store.
Yeah, GCX is a banger too. Card Cash is good too as well. I consider the label printer noise the music of money. That is a
That's
tweet
fact.
of 5%.
That's exactly
tweet
what
that,
it is.
Justin.
That's exactly what
Tweet
it
that,
is.
tweet
It's
that.
absolutely a beautiful thing right there.
FBM for a prep center has been convenient. Yeah,
Ooh,
if you have a
that's
prep center,
right
if you have a
there.
prep center that's doing
Yeah.
FBM, then yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, you see
Yeah.
the shirt too. You see the shirt from
that's
Miguel
what
right there.
that's what the profile pic with that shirt will do for you. You'll find
That
an FBM
also
prep center.
major
Right.
lesson. You see, I got the drip on for a reason today. I need to make my cyber money.
Is that a Miami pick
for a
too?
reason here.
Go back
Look
to that.
like
Is
it.
that
Look
Miami?
like
That's there's some proximity there. Yeah.
Well, and that's huge, right? Because a lot of prep centers don't offer FBM. So if you can find a good prep center that offers FBM that can get your shipments out on time so that you don't get dinged for late shipments, then that can be a huge asset, and you can make a lot of money that way.
Does my risk of having issues in my seller account increase if I create my own listings to sell on? If you're correctly within like brand registry, no, I don't think it would necessarily, unless you're doing like generic ones. I don't know if it would necessarily.
Yeah, if you're talking about creating listings for your own brand, then no, it's not going to hurt you. But if you're talking about creating like duplicate listings for an existing brand or creating listings without the brand's approval, then yeah, it's probably going to get you in hot water.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I take the shipping labels from my distributor whenever I visit their rep. Also, yeah, I mean, as long as they're cool with that, I think that's a good play.
I like to imagine you're basically shoplifting from your distributors for $10 of paper. That's kind of fire. If so,
That is funny.
Toxic had a good question. You have an item that's the same product, same packaging and size, but the listing says like a previous year or something like that. As long as it's still the exact same item, and like a customer goes on the listing and like end of the day, whatever you have in your hand or you see on the website you're about to buy from, just make sure that that matches, and you'd be happy as a customer getting whatever you're looking on the Amazon listing. If the answer is yes, then yeah, rip it.
Yeah, and the packaging, like sometimes you'll see a listing where it's the same product, it's just updated packaging, or the packaging's different. And in those cases, again, put yourself in the customer's shoes. It's like, is the customer likely to return this product based on the differences here? And if the answer is no, then I'd say it's fine.
How to get reseller certificate in California? I search, we can save 9.75. So yeah, just look up your state's rules. ChatGPT probably has a general baseline for that, and then definitely see some like CPA YouTuber videos on that. That's a really, really helpful tool. And you got to make sure when you're doing that in your seller amp settings, you have sales tax factored in, but then when you're buying a product tax exempt, you got to take off that sales tax, for example. Yeah. I got to keep spending. Yes, sir. TGP. Yes, sir. How do you get a free UPS label? Just Google UPS free shipping supplies and click the first link that pops up. It'll be like ups.com/like shipping supplies or something like that. You guys start to do private label now? I would love to in the future. No current plans though.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah, I personally have no interest in doing private label at all, to be honest with you. I don't.
Why not? Out of curiosity, yeah.
I just don't. I mean, I feel like private label is more of a creative endeavor. So it's like you've got to have a product that you want to innovate on, and you want to brand it and market it, and that's just not really how my mind thinks. I'm more of a sales, form relationships, talk numbers type of guy, and I just think that lends itself way more to wholesale than it does to private label.
Makes sense. Very self-aware too. Do y'all throw brick shoes like Asics and poly boxes or poly mailers for FBM, or y'all always throw them in boxes? I say throw them in boxes. Interestingly enough, Amazon, when you FBA stuff, will oftentimes ship your shoes in poly mailers, but the key is that you hold the responsibility when it's an FBM order, and Amazon holds the responsibility if a customer complains or messes it up, for example, via FBA. So I would say always boxes for shoes via FBM.
Yeah, you can get like replacement brown boxes. I used to be completely against that too, but I haven't really seen an increase of return rate, authentic complaints, anything like that. As long as it just has a nice replacement box, people don't tend to care. I assume that probably changes on expensive stuff. Haven't really tested that, but yeah, like you're talking about like $50 pair of shoes, no one's going to keep the box anyway. They're just going to throw it away.
Yep. We don't sell to Amazon wholesaler, then Corey hits them with the Riz. Yes, sir. Okay. Makes sense right there. Yep. Hey guys, I have a question. I'm stuck at 1K a month. How do I scale from 1K a month to 10K a month? Doing more of what's already worked and getting better, right? So more and better, for example, right? And you probably have, a listing or two that's sold decent. Storefront stock those sellers and find the other good listings from there, right? Figure out, what supplier you bought that product from, right? Figure out what else they have that's also profitable, or what deal made that item good, right? And just basically horizontally scale from that. And if that one or two listings that's most likely selling well is selling well for you, buy heavier on it. No, definitely not. No. There's so many people finessing with FBM. Yeah.
It wouldn't really be worth it for them. They just let customers complain for them.
Yeah. Can't wait till all this inventory comes in. Yes, sir. You got to get that stuff listed right away. It's one of the big things during Q4, guys, is you get stuff in, you FBM and immediately you restock it. You get stuff in, you FBM and immediately you restock it. Very, very important.
Can't wait till all this inventory comes in. Absolutely toxic. You got the you're addicted now. That's what it takes. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
It almost feels like a video game, like especially in the early stages. You're like, I hit 1K, now I want to hit 5K, then I want to hit 10K. It's like you're always kind of like leveling
you gotta enjoy the video game though. Like it is a grind. Like it is, and some of y'all something else, a different type of grind, a different business might make more sense. It might just kind of click for you, might enjoy it better, and that's fine. So
well, especially if you're using like a prep center and you're not actually ever seeing the inventory, then it becomes
then it
really
is just
weird.
a video game.
Yeah.
I have trouble believing I can build a business that relies on coupon codes and gift cards using multiple emails. Seems sketchy. Go to any of your listings, storefront stock, the sellers that have a bunch of reviews, see what brands they're carrying. And if you Google that product and it only comes from, if that brand of product only comes from one supplier, which is actually fairly typical, for a fact that the way that item was acquired was through some sort of coupon or deal, for example. And that's just kind of the way the business works, honestly, on that. Luckily though, there's, exponential ways to make money online and everything, but that is how
like,
arbitrage.
if you're of that belief, then maybe wholesale is the route, right?
Yeah.
Buying from brands, buying from distributors that have a supply chain validated through that brand. I mean, there's so many different ways to go about even the Amazon space, not to mention every single other opportunity out there.
Yeah. And so, like, for example, if you don't want to do that in respect to like arbitrage, right? You gotta get cold calling, man. You gotta get cold calling suppliers, right? That might not be something you're interested in, right? When you could, happily sit at the computer and do online arbitrage, for example. But the nice thing is, like, there's many ways to skin the cat here. Hit 31K.
Some of y'all love talking and that kind of thing too. So you'll probably vibe with wholesale. It's just whatever makes sense.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Hit 31K last month, hoping for 40K December. I feel sorry for newer sellers starting right now because they will think the rest of the year is like Q4. Well, you could positively think about it and note that they'll get a great start getting started, and then they'll be more prepared for next Q4. For example, there's always different ways to look at things,
Well, another way to think about it too is like every quarter technically could be Q4 if you sell seasonal products that are seasonal for that quarter, right? So like if you sell Christmas products, yeah, you're going to crush it during Q4. If you sell whatever would be a Q1 type of product, or like sunscreen during the summer, right? Like that has the potential to do Q4 type numbers because those are products that are in season that time of year. So, it's a little more of an advanced tactic, but if you start sourcing really seasonal products all year round, every quarter can almost be like Q4.
Ooh, this is a good one here. Is Amazon sharing the buy box worth jumping on? Interestingly enough, it's only in some cases. So if you see on SellerAmp that Amazon's in the buy box on something, scroll down and take a look at the chart. And if the offer count's jumping up and down, it means third-party sellers are making money. If the offer count is very, very flat, it means third-party sellers are not making money, right? So that's kind of the way you want to break that down pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, right? When you look at the buy box, a lot of people like to talk about the buy box rotation. That's not a down to the second metric. Just like the buy box line, the pink line, purple line you see on the chart. Those aren't 100% accurate every second of the day, every single day, right? There's going to be sellers who are winning a lot of sales that aren't in the rotation. There's going to be sellers that are selling at 46 where you don't see that line ever at 46. And so, again, to Miles's point, the single source of truth is always going to be embedded in the offer count. Whether it's an issue with your account health, whether people got gated, whether the price is going to go up, whether the price is going to go down, whether it is being shared by Amazon, everything is derived and driven by the offer count. Offer count going up, price is likely to follow going down. Offer count's going down, price is likely to go up, right? 100% of the time, offer count is almost going to be the most important metric.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's really is like the single most important keep-in metric.
Yep. Yeah, you got to lower your price on that, Malik. Is it possible that Amazon can ungate you without any reason? Like someone used to sell Nike, but now they're not. 100%. Yeah, 100%. That totally can happen. And that's why you want to make sure you have a nice catalog of different brands, right? And the cool thing is, when you're doing storefront stalking, you're going to see the vast majority of sellers. That's all like they have, or they have tons of different brands, for example. And that's, for the exact reason right there.
No breaks, my boy.
Yeah, you see TGP.
Yeah.
TGP here.
You can probably take a week in January, but you better not be taking a break from now until
not
Christmas.
right now.
We sleep in January. We sleep in January.
Sleep in January. That's the motto right there. What if SellerAmp says the product is doing 50 sales a month, but when you look at the offers, no one's stock is really changing? They probably have max order quantities on, which is kind of hard to explain basically, but you set like a maximum of product a customer can buy, and that hides your stock count on Keep Up, basically. So that's pretty cool. You can do that in Seller Central. Got to figure out if we can add that on Boxem too. Is it correct that not all UPCs on SellerAmp? 100% that is true. And some Amazon listings don't have UPCs as well too.
Yeah, it's the SellerAmp's going to show you whatever Amazon thinks the UPC is. So it's not like SellerAmp is wrong. It's just the Amazon catalog gets wonky, right? And you like those listings where the UPC might be weird or wrong, because then it makes it harder for anything that's like automated, that's like scraping websites and stuff. It's always going to be blind to those. So you're going to be profitable for way longer on those. It's all part of the harder it is to find, the better it is type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, going back to like the TA point, any wholesale scraper on the market, the best way to go through a wholesale catalog is filtering by brand, boiling it down to products within the brand, and digging into catalogs from there, line by line, product by product. The hard way is the only way.
Yep. As a new Amazon seller, what should I do? Is my first step. Watch a bunch of videos, man. Watch a bunch of YouTube videos. Seller Amp channel, all these guys' channels. Join our Facebook group that's linked in the description as well. Get Seller Amp and get rocking and rolling too, right there. Yeah, wow. Your private label product MOQ is 15K. Yeah, exactly. That's why we like the arbitrage model for beginners. Yeah.
Yeah, build up some cash flow, reselling stuff, and then you can afford to take some $5,000-$10,000 swings that miss because you just make it again in a month or two of reselling.
That's facts.
Definitely.
Right? Yep.
I've received about 24 letters this year telling me to stop selling certain brands. I'd never received any of these for the past 2 years. Is this becoming a common thing? So certain brands will hire law firms to kind of represent them, to send these cease and desist letters to sellers to try and scare them off their listings. Now, if you're buying legitimate product, if your product is authentic, then technically they have no leg to stand on. They'll just send these as a scare tactic. My strategy when I get those letters is a lot of times I will just sell through what I have, sit on the sidelines for a month or two, not replenish those particular products, and just kind of pay attention to, like Garrett said, that new offer count. Are people still selling this product? You know, has the brand kicked anybody off, anything like that? And if everything looks good, I might jump back on the listing in a couple of months. Because like I said, most of the time it is just a scare tactic.
Yeah, what's good to start selling right now? Whatever you can find profitably that sells quick. You know what I mean? So like watch the last couple of days I posted videos on the Seller Amp YouTube. Check those out in terms of good place to start out sourcing right there. And then guys, also want to let you guys know tomorrow the only sale we run all year expires on Seller Amp. Want to just put in the chat? I'll put in the chat as well. So make sure you guys take advantage of that if you are interested.
The real question is, how are people still not using Seller Amp after all this?
Well, no, but you can upgrade though. Actually, most people that adds a lot of value to is users upgrading to the annual plans to save money as well, right? So if you currently pay for Seller Amp monthly, you can save some money upgrading to annually, right? And then if you haven't yet used Seller Amp, you can subscribe to the annual plan to get 12 months for the price of 9, regardless of whether you're a new customer or upgrading. Right there, we appreciate y'all tapping in for Seller Amp Seller Hour Cyber Monday edition. Right, join our Facebook group, join our free Discord. Check the links in the description, and we'll see you guys soon. Y'all be great. Be great.
See you guys.
Make sure you check out these guys as well if you're new to the Money Monday. Check out Corey. Check out Garrett.
Appreciate that.
Be great. Take it easy.
See y'all soon.
Adios. Let's go spend